You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh, yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
Okay, this morning I am really going to try and make it through this podcast. I am losing my voice. And I tell you the reason why, as I said yesterday on my podcast, the temperatures have been going up and down and forwards and sideways, and it finally caught up to me. One moment I'm cold in my room, and the next moment I am so hot. And I try to keep the windows open, but then all of a sudden it's cold, and then all of a sudden the next day it's hot, and it's caught up to me. Change in weather affects me. This isn't about global warming. So get off your little high horse, because I'm not talking about global warming. I'm talking about Florida weather. And Florida weather has global warming all of its life, because we're right at that side of the earth where we get it. And it's winter time, so we get cold fronts that come down from the north and affect us, and then it goes right back to normal Florida weather, which is hot. So it's supposed to be up to about 75, 80 degrees here this morning, after we've had 60 degree weather and 40 degree weather, and it's caught up to me. And so if I make it through, I will be really doing a good job. Because my voice, I really feel that I'm just about ready to lose it, but that's life. Hey, listen, I didn't want to come on Sunday and talk about politics, but the problem, this is a business program, a business podcast, and I talk about business, and I talk about the politics that affect business and affect our personal financial lives. So Joe Biden made a statement yesterday that really kind of pissed me off, because he said that the economy is in a downfall. It's failing. And it's all because of the Republicans' fault. Well, I hate to tell you this. It's not the Republicans who have shut down these states. It's not the Republicans who have put people in lockdown, destroyed businesses, shut businesses down. I'm sorry, Mr. Biden, that has got to go back to your governors who did that. Gavin Newsom and Cuomo out of New York, and Gavin Newsom in California, and other states that have had Democratic governors have literally destroyed the economy. And they've destroyed businesses, and they've destroyed people's lives. Now, he wants to throw trillions of dollars towards this so-called bad economy, but let me tell you something. Here in Florida, our economy is going right back up, because we have people out there working now. Restaurants are open. Medical facilities are open. Businesses are open. Some are still working out of their homes, but it's opening up. And so our economy is getting a little bit stronger. And it gets stronger because we manage things differently in this state. Now, in California, they completely locked down. They completely shut everything down. So no one can conduct their business. No one can operate their restaurants. Restaurants have been devastated, which employs so many thousands of people right there in Los Angeles and San Francisco because of the tourist trade and also the entertainment trade. But those governors literally, which are the two biggest economic states, have literally destroyed the economy. So the president wants to adopt the same philosophy as California. And if we look at California, it has failed tremendously. They're recalling that governor. Are we going to have to recall the president? Because that's the direction he wants to go. So he shuts down the pipeline, which employs millions of jobs and also contributes to our oil supply and reduces the cost of oil for us. Now, yesterday I filled up my gas tank and it's gone up. Listen, when you don't have a good economic plan, you're going to be a failure. And he's going to blame it on everybody. He's going to blame it on the Republicans. He's going to blame it on the nuns down the street. He's going to blame it on everybody. Because he does not have an economic plan for the United States, except to raise taxes and to create more red tape for businesses doing business and to cut off the oil supply domestically. And he wants to import oil from all these other countries that will cost us more. So, I don't get it. He wants to tax us at the very time when people are out of work. He wants higher taxes. And that's going to affect everyone. Don't believe this nonsense about millionaires, because it's nonsense. It was nonsense when they said it in the Obama administration, and it's nonsense now. And then he wants to raise the minimum wage to $15. Do you know that these small businesses can hardly afford the wage as it is? You see, the problem is Biden has never ran a business. The individuals he has employed have never ran a business. They're academics. They've never ran a business. So they don't know that when you raise that to $15, it really raises it to $18. Because what happens? Your payroll taxes go up. Your workers' compensation goes up. Your state taxes may go up, depending on which state you're in. If you're in California, those probably are going to go up. But all of these things take effect. They affect that small business. So you may say it's $15 an hour, but in actuality it's about $18 an hour if you add in everything else that goes up right along with the minimum wage. I don't know how much I have to drive this into people's brains, but just because they say $15, it doesn't stay at that $15. And that individual who's getting $15 doesn't get the $15 because he gets attacked with higher taxes too. More taxes are taken out. State disability insurance goes up. That gets taken out. So you've got all of these things happening. And if you are in New York City, you not only have a federal tax, a state tax, and then you have a city tax that you've got to file. Everything goes up to that individual. So that $15 goes down to the individual getting the $15, and it goes up in cost to the business that has to pay it. So it doesn't make sense, right? And in some of these communities, you can't justify a $15 an hour wage because there just isn't enough business to justify it. So the president's economic plan is a disaster. Right now, he has literally cut jobs in the United States. He has raised the cost of doing business in the United States. He has raised the cost of people who have to spend their money. Those costs have gone up to those citizens of this great nation. And I'm going to tell you right now, and please take this advice to heart and put it into practice. Be a conservative spender. Start saving because we're going to have some tough times. Don't listen to Wall Street because Wall Street goes up and down. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't. I don't believe in Wall Street any longer because there's too much nonsense that's going on Wall Street at the moment. If you want to protect yourself, start putting together a contingency fund. A rainy day fund is what they call it sometimes. But you need to put that money away so that you can have money just in case something else happens. The money can't just, the government just can't keep printing money. Otherwise, we will have the highest inflation ever in this nation. But that seems to be the direction that the Congress and the President are going, is to raise the spending in the United States You see, the problem is you and I, we sit at home and we look at ways, how are we going to save our money? How are we going to be able to put these kids through college? How are we going to be able to purchase another car because the one that we're driving now is breaking down? So we save and we scrimp and we do everything that we can just so that we can live and so that we can survive. While the government, what do? They spend. They give no thought to it, because they've got a political agenda that they want to fulfill. Unfortunately, that political agenda costs you and I money. So they're going to send out 1 point some odd trillion dollars, but we don't know how it's going to be spent. And why should my money that I've worked hard for go to the state of California to bail them out because they manage their state so badly and so corruptly? I don't want to do that. And we need to tell our congressmen and senators, hey, stop it. So if we don't have, as a country, and a good, strong economic plan, we have no confidence in what is going to happen next. Back in November, businesses said that they have a low confidence rate. I don't know what it is now because I can't find it. But we have a problem with an economy with no direction. So you and I, as I've said many, many times before, are responsible for our own financial structure. How we spend our money, how we save our money, how we work, how we try to generate new businesses, how we try to create a better cash flow into our families. That is our number one priority at the moment. Because we don't know what this president and what this Congress is going to do to harm our businesses, our lives again. And it's not because we don't love this nation. That has nothing to do with it. We love this nation a lot. It's just that we have bad decision makers at the top. We have bad decision makers and legislators in the Congress and in many of our states also. So if the president really wants to do something for this nation, he will get off this high horse of higher taxes, higher minimum wage, open up the pipelines again and get that thing built, create more jobs. But don't attack small business. Don't attack businesses. Because, listen, businesses can get up and leave. We saw it happen later in the Bush and the Obama administration. Companies left. Right now in Wall Street, companies are looking, and they have been working on it, moving their cash and their capital offshore to another country that's friendlier, the friendlier nation to their money. Right now, the corporate tax rate is in the 20s. I think it's 28%. No, I'm sorry. It's 20. I can't remember at the moment. My mind has gone blank. But it's in the 20s. And I think that Biden wants to move it up to 28, which is very close to the 30 plus that we had before. So Trump had lowered it down to a manageable rate for businesses to want to stay here. Biden is wanting to raise the tax rate, and that will be an incentive for companies to leave. What happens when companies leave? Jobs leave with it. So right now we have a president with no inkling on how to do anything to the economy except destroy it. Listen, I have been following Biden for a long time. I've always been a fan of his. I always liked him. He was a nice guy. He always told good stories. He was good at that. But the problem that we have at the moment is that he doesn't know how to lead. He doesn't know how to manage. He doesn't know how to create jobs. One thing that we had to say about Trump is he knew what the United States needed to create jobs. And that's what he worked on. and jobs went up until coronavirus came in. And then coronavirus became political, and then that politics of a virus became destructive to our nation's economy. We should never have shut down this nation. We should never have tried to destroy businesses and shut them down so that they can't serve and create business for themselves, because that's what they rely on. They don't. We in small business, we don't want to rely on the government. Never, ever, ever. I think that PPP loan was a destructive thing because people did not know what they were getting into. There's a lot of strings attached to that PPP. And they're going to find out about it when they start filing their tax returns. So what is the problem with America at the moment is that we have no economic direction. And Wall Street is not helping because they're playing games between the hedge fund managers and the other investment people out there who are trying to make a buck off of buying and selling stock. The SEC really hasn't done anything. And if Congress gets involved, it's going to become worse because then it becomes political, and then they'll begin attacking businesses again. So the president has got to play this very calmly. Because if he gets his White House involved, and if he gets the Secretary of the Treasury involved, and the SEC needs to be involved because we already have the laws on the books at the moment to take care of this type of situation. It just needs to be enforced. But if Congress and the president gets involved, then it will become a political issue, and then you will see an attack on the economy, and the economy will drop very quickly. Because once the government gets involved in these kinds of things, because they don't know what they're doing, it goes bad very quickly. And that's what I've always said very clearly in everything else, is that once you have politics involved in business, the business becomes corrupted with politics. And we've seen this with Twitter, we've seen it with Facebook, we've seen it with Amazon, we've seen it with Apple, where they've put their political strength behind, and it was pushed and funded by the corporate money that was made. Stock owners should be upset with Apple. They should be upset with Twitter. They should be upset with Facebook. Once you bring politics into a business, it corrupts the business. And then you start making business decisions based on political agendas. So all of you who have invested in these companies, I'm sorry for you. Because now you're stuck. You're stuck with a company who is making decisions and censoring people based on politics. Freedom of speech is out the door. Because these companies now feel as though they have the power. Government's not doing anything. You don't hear anything from the Republicans. Maybe a little whisper. You hear zero from the Democrats. You hear zero from the White House. So listen, we have a situation. That situation puts us in a risk because we have no economic plan for this great nation. So that means that you and I have got to become presidents and vice presidents of our own family and of our own financial situation, because we can no longer trust in what government is doing. I've come to that conclusion. I can no longer trust what government is doing. I don't trust the Republicans. I don't trust the Democrats. I don't trust the president. Because there is no clear forward message on the economy. Instead, what are they going to do starting tomorrow on Monday is impeach a president who is not a president. When they should have been working on infrastructure, taxation, business incentives, family, every healthcare. They should have been focusing on all of these different things, but all that they do is focus on destruction of one individual. That is a total waste of our money. They are spending our money that we're paying out in taxes on issues that have no consequence to this nation, except that it spends a tremendous amount of money in time, in political nonsense, political showmanship. The nation needs a clear direction on our economy. And down at the state level, there needs to be a clear direction on the economy of these states. If they're not focusing on opening up businesses, vote those people out of office, because it's time for a change and this nation needs a change. I was so happy that on Friday, the Supreme Court told Gavin Newsom, hey, churches can open their doors. Yeah, it might be 25% capacity. That's okay. You can have more church services throughout the day on Sunday or Saturday. So the churches have the backing of the Supreme Court now. If your church is not open, find a different church. I've had to do that here in Palm Beach. They still haven't opened up their churches. The Episcopal Church here, still closed. Catholic Church is open. I went to Mass for my first time on Christmas Eve, and I was so happy. You don't know how good I felt. Even though I'm not Catholic, I still went to Mass because the church was open here in Palm Beach. But Bethesda by the Sea remains closed. It's a sad thing to see this. So I will not be going back to Bethesda because I do not feel as though that they even supported their parishioners. They didn't even fight for their right to go to church or go back to church. Listen, the Supreme Court has said you can open up your churches. Yeah, you might have to do 4 services a day because you can only go 25% capacity. Yeah, so it's a little bit work. Listen, you haven't been working all this time. Start opening up your churches and start praising God again. Let your parishioners know that your church is with them. This closing down churches, and by you guys allowing it to happen, you did more damage to the American family, to the personal, individual belief system. The time where people needed faith greater than any time before, the church was shut down. As I said before, God's watching this. Remember when God was a child and Jesus was missing? His parents had gone on to another town and they found out that he was missing. And they had to go back. And they found him in the synagogue. And Jesus said to them, Mother, Father, don't you realize that this is where I should be? This is my house. This is where I minister. This is where I teach. This is where I break bread with my brethren and my sisters. Do you not understand that? And so churches shut their doors down. And they shut that down. God couldn't go in. Churches began to obey the sound of government and not the voice of God. Did a lot of damage. Tremendous amount of damage. There are ways to go to church and be safe. Many, many ways. But to literally shut down and not open your doors again, I mean, that's disrespectful to the God that we love and the community that we should be focusing on. Today's Sunday, and I miss going to church, but I have been going to Mass, and that I have enjoyed, because I'm now back into God's house. I'm back there. I can kneel down and I can pray and I can talk. And it's good to see everybody there in their Sunday bests and looking sharp. We need to get back to church, because we have a lot of praying to do. Now, regarding the economy, if we do not see a better plan, you have to have a better plan in place for your own personal family, for your own personal lives. I encourage you to do that. Listen, if you want to set up a budget, on my website at lodge-co.com, and if you click on 60-minute business advice, that's right about in the middle tab of the website. If you go there, you will find a personal budget that you can use to help set up your family budgets, so that you know how much money that you're spending and how much you can put away. It's there. It's free. No sales gimmicks at all. It's there for you for free to use. Do it. It will help you out. I'm telling you, it will help you out. Well, I'm just about ready to lose my voice here, so I think it's about time that I shut myself down and go and get a cup of coffee or hot tea. But I just want to leave this message. You're in charge of your own financial destiny, and if you don't take charge of that right now, in an economy that we're not sure, then you will be hurting later on. But if you start planning right now, start putting money away, do it. Be a good financial steward. Listen, this is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you very soon. Bye-bye. Hello, this is Michael Lodge. Join me daily as we talk about wealth, business, and taxes, as well as the politics that affect us. The Michael Lodge Show, trying to make sense of it all. Listen on your podcast provider. This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.